Let me ask you something. How many times have you blamed the world for your lack of progress? How many times have you looked at your life and said, if only the timing were right? If only I had the connections? If only I had the money? If only things were easier? I want you to listen carefully because the truth isn't out there. The battle you're fighting isn't against the economy, your boss, or even the people around you. No, the real war, the silent, hidden, invisible war, is inside your mind. Every thought you have, every choice you make, every excuse you tell yourself, it is a soldier fighting on one side or the other. And the side you choose determines your future. Here's the hardest truth to swallow. Most people fail not because of circumstances, not because of lack of opportunity, not because of lack of talent. They fail because of the quiet, invisible war going on in their own heads. The war between belief and resistance, between intention and habit, between the person they are now and the person they could become. And I'll tell you something else. Failure doesn't come suddenly. It doesn't announce itself with fireworks and banners. No, it begins quietly, one small thought at a time, one whispered maybe tomorrow at a time. The same mind that dreams of success also builds prisons of limitation, often without you even noticing. Today, I want to take you through that hidden war. I want to show you the 5 enemies of progress, and I want to show you how to defeat them. By the end of this speech, you won't be able to look at your excuses, your distractions, your doubts, or even your comfort in the same way ever again. You'll see them, you'll name them, and you'll know exactly how to fight them. Every day, your mind runs 2 programs. One builds, one destroys. One says, I can. The other says, what's the use? And if you aren't aware, the saboteur inside you will win slowly, quietly, invisibly. Until one day, you wake up and the dream you once held is still sitting right where it started. Progress is never stolen. It is surrendered, bit by bit, through distraction, through neglect, through one more excuse, one more delay, one more I'll start tomorrow. Drift doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in slowly and most people don't even see it until it's too late. But here's the key. Awareness is your first weapon. You have to see the battle for what it is. It's not luck versus misfortune. It's not rich versus poor. It's discipline versus drift. Every day, every single day, you cast a vote. Do you act or do you drift? Do you build or do you retreat? Do you win or do you lose? The external world cannot fix what's inside you. No boss, no opportunity, no government, no market can solve the internal battle. That is your responsibility. And until the inside changes, the outside never will. The gardener cannot plant seeds in weeds and expect a harvest. The body cannot grow if the mind surrenders. The soul cannot advance if discipline is absent. Progress is designed, cultivated, protected, or it is surrendered. So, let me ask you, who is winning inside your mind right now? The builder, or the saboteur? The disciplined self, or the drifting self? The moment you answer that honestly, the battle shifts. And from that moment, everything else, your career, your health, your wealth, your relationships, starts to align. Because progress isn't an event. Progress is a defense strategy against decline, and it must be defended daily. The first enemy, excuses. Now let's talk about the first enemy of progress. It's quiet, elegant, and deceptively clever. It doesn't scream. It doesn't demand attention. In fact, it sounds intelligent, reasonable, and even polite. This enemy is called excuses. Excuses are the most elegant destroyer of progress ever invented. They are subtle, persuasive, and they feel good, at least for a little while. They give you comfort. They make failure feel intelligent. They let you rest on a pillow of justification instead of standing on the bedrock of responsibility. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you said, I can't start because I'm too busy? Or, it's not the right time? Maybe I don't have enough resources. Or even, others have more advantages than me. Each one of these is an excuse dressed as logic. An excuse masquerading as reason. An excuse whispering, it's okay to delay, it's okay to settle, it's okay to do nothing. And here's the trap. It works. You see, excuses don't feel like failure. They feel like safety. They feel like wisdom. They make you clever while stealing your future. And the worst part? You often believe your own excuses. You tell the story so convincingly to yourself that it becomes truth in your mind, and in that moment, progress stops completely. I remember meeting a man once. He came from a tough background, faced every obstacle you could imagine. No money, no connections, no support. And he told me, I can't succeed. Life is too hard. Circumstances are against me. That was his story. And it's a familiar story. Every person who has ever fallen short has a story like this. Then I met another man. Same background, same challenges. But he said something different. He said, I can't afford not to try. Notice the difference? Same conditions. Different conclusions. One had excuses. One had reasons to act. One surrendered. One decided to fight. One let the hidden enemy inside win. The other faced it head on. Life doesn't listen to your explanations. Life doesn't reward your reasoning. Life doesn't pay attention to the stories you tell yourself about why you can't. Life responds to effort. The marketplace doesn't pay for intentions. It rewards execution. The body doesn't get stronger because you mean to exercise. It changes because you do. Here's the Jim Rohn truth. The cure for excuses isn't inspiration. It isn't motivation. It isn't waiting for the stars to align. The cure is accountability. You see, excuses thrive in the dark. They hide in the shadows. They whisper, it's okay. You'll start tomorrow. You've earned a break. But the moment you shine a light of responsibility on them, they can't survive. Every person who has achieved something remarkable didn't avoid hardship. They ran out of excuses. They replaced I can't with how can I? One simple change in language, one simple decision to act, reshapes the mind. It turns limitation into problem solving. It forces creativity to step in where fear used to sit. An excuse says, it's beyond me. A question asks, what can I do? And notice this, excuses give you comfort faster than success ever could. They allow you to settle for a story that makes sense instead of a result that makes change. And once you start believing them, you're trapped. Progress stops. The enemy moves inside. It takes your voice, your will, and your vision. And all you're left with is a mind full of reasons why you can't. So here's the challenge for you. Ask yourself, where have excuses been ruling your life? Is it in your work, your health, your finances, your relationships? Is it the dream you've been postponing, the project you've been putting off, the conversation you've been avoiding? Excuses are sneaky. They're polite. They sound intelligent, but they rob you of your future. The first step to defeating this enemy is naming it. Awareness is power. Once you see an excuse, call it out. Say it aloud. That's an excuse. That's not truth. That's not going to run my life anymore. And then act. Because excuses cannot survive action. They cannot exist where results are present. Every action, no matter how small, weakens their grip. Every step forward silences them a little more. I want you to remember this. Life doesn't respond to reasons. Life responds to results. The moment you stop explaining and start executing, you reclaim your voice. You reclaim your power. You reclaim progress. Excuses and progress cannot live in the same house. One drives the other out. So today, decide. Will you let excuses continue to live rent-free in your mind? Or will you evict them with action? Will you replace I can't with how can I? Will you stop telling stories and start creating results? Because the truth is, every small action you take against excuses is a victory. And each victory builds momentum. It builds confidence. It builds belief. And soon, belief becomes unshakable. And excuses? They become powerless whispers in the distance. The second enemy, neglect. Now that we've faced the first enemy, let's turn our attention to the second, neglect. The slowest, quietest, and most insidious destroyer of progress you'll ever encounter. Unlike excuses, neglect doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. You may not even notice it at first, but it works its damage silently, invisibly. And before long, what you built with effort begins to crumble. Neglect begins in small corners. One missed day of effort, one ignored detail, one postponed conversation, one skipped workout. And you think, it's okay, I'll catch up tomorrow. But neglect doesn't add, it multiplies. One day becomes two become a week becomes a habit, and habits, my friend, are the foundation of destiny. I remember watching a man build a business. Not an overnight sensation. He built it day by day, week by week, year by year. He showed up consistently, made small, disciplined choices, and in 10 years, he had created something remarkable. Then one day, he became comfortable. He trusted that momentum alone would carry him. He stopped checking the details. He stopped maintaining the small things. And within 2 years, what took 10 to build had begun to crumble. Not because of failure, but because of neglect. That's the danger. Neglect doesn't announce itself. It hides under good intentions. It whispers, "You've earned a break. You deserve some rest." And of course you have. But progress doesn't rest just because you do. Momentum is not an automatic system. It must be maintained. And every day that you ignore the small disciplines, every day you let attention slip, every day you allow what matters to fade, the soil of progress dries and decline creeps in silently. Neglect is the silent thief of time. It steals your opportunities, your energy, your focus, your confidence. It attacks your relationships. It attacks your health. It attacks your business. Every system, every skill, every relationship, every muscle, every connection, if unattended, will deteriorate. That's the law of life. What is not strengthened is eventually lost. And here's the hard truth. Most people don't lose because they fail to begin. They lose because they fail to continue. They let a small gap turn into a canyon. A minor oversight turns into disaster. And the moment you stop tending to what matters, decline begins, slowly at first, barely noticeable. Then suddenly, it's a landslide. You see, progress is fragile. It must be fed, protected, and measured. The moment it is taken for granted, it slips. Even small victories require maintenance. The body doesn't remain strong if you stop working out for a week. The mind doesn't remain sharp if you stop learning for a month. The business doesn't continue to grow if you stop tending to it every single day. Everything deteriorates without attention. The antidote to neglect is simple, but not easy. Discipline, structure, awareness, and repetition. Awareness tells you where decline is creeping in. Discipline ensures you show up anyway. Structure makes consistency automatic. And repetition builds the habit that sustains progress long after motivation fades. Think of progress as a flame. You don't need to rebuild the fire every day, but you must feed it. Miss a day, and the embers cool. Miss a few more, and the flame dies. And when the flame dies, the vision dims. Momentum stops. Confidence fades. Opportunity slips quietly into the hands of someone else who refused to neglect their daily duties. Maintenance matters more than intensity. Small, consistent steps taken daily far outweigh sporadic bursts of energy. Success is not built in a day. It is nurtured, watered, protected, and tended. And neglect is the silent weed that strangles growth if left unchecked. So, ask yourself today, where are you being neglectful in your life? Is it the morning routine you promised yourself? Is it the relationships that need care? Is it your health, your finances, your skill set? Every corner of life left unattended allows decline to creep in. And every small correction you make today compounds tomorrow into progress, confidence, and growth. Remember this, catching up is twice as hard as keeping up. Momentum is far easier to maintain than to rebuild. The disciplined person may not feel like it. They may not be motivated. They may be tired. But they show up, they act. And in that action, neglect cannot survive. Neglect hides in the shadows, but discipline shines a light. Attention kills it. Action defeats it. Small daily victories, repeated over time, become a fortress that neglect can no longer breach. And that, my friends, is the difference between a life that drifts and a life that rises. So today, make a vow, not for motivation, not for applause, not for recognition, but for yourself. Tend to what matters. Feed the flame. Protect the soil. Show up when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable, when it's tiring, because the price of progress is upkeep and the rent is due every single day. Neglect is silent. Progress is loud. Discipline is persistent. Action is inevitable. And the choice is yours. To let neglect steal another day, or to guard the flame and make today count. The third enemy, doubt. Now we face the third enemy of progress. Doubt, the quiet thief of destiny. Unlike excuses or neglect, doubt doesn't stop you with noise. It stops you with hesitation. It doesn't slam the door in your face. No, it whispers, gently, subtly, enough to make you pause, enough to make you question, enough to delay. Doubt begins the moment you step into the unknown. It is the gap between effort and evidence. You start building a skill, pursuing a goal, chasing a dream, and the results don't appear immediately. That's when doubt creeps in. Maybe it won't work. Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe this dream is too big. And if you listen long enough, belief shrinks, action slows, confidence cracks, and momentum dies. But here's the truth. Doubt is not a sign that something is wrong. Doubt is a sign that something important is at stake. Every great endeavor comes with resistance. Every meaningful pursuit tests your faith. Every life worth living demands action. In spite of uncertainty, consider the farmer planting seeds. He cannot see the harvest. He cannot predict the rain. He cannot control the soil. Yet he plants anyway. That is faith. That is action despite doubt. That is progress. The builder lays foundations long before the house stands. The artist sketches before the masterpiece is complete. The entrepreneur invests before profits appear. Doubt is always present, but it is conquered by action, by consistency, by belief in the unseen. Most people wait to feel ready. They say, "I'll believe it when I see it." Builders say, "I'll see it because I believe it." Notice the difference? Spectators wait for evidence. Leaders create evidence by acting. Belief must travel ahead of the body, or the body will never move. Faith is not arrogance. Faith is preparation. Faith is the decision to keep building when the proof has not yet arrived. I have met people who allowed doubt to stop them. They had the talent. They had the resources. They had the vision. But the moment uncertainty appeared, hesitation followed. And hesitation, my friends, is the silent killer of progress. It poisons potential. It replaces movement with mental spinning. While you're debating what could go wrong, someone else is acting on what could go right. The cure for doubt is disciplined action, not perfect knowledge, not a foolproof plan, not reassurance from others. Action. Do what you can with what you have, and let the results become your teacher. Every small win builds proof. Every step forward silences the whispering voice of doubt a little more. And soon, what was once hesitation becomes habit. What was once fear becomes fuel, and what was once uncertainty becomes unshakable belief. Here's something you need to hear. Progress does not wait for perfect confidence. You will never feel completely ready. The conditions will never be flawless. Doubt will always offer an exit. But the difference between those who rise and those who drift is simple. The risers act anyway. They move through the fear. They choose belief over hesitation. And in doing so, they create a momentum that doubt cannot touch. Belief is armor. Every disciplined action adds a layer. Every small victory reinforces it. Doubt cannot live where results exist. Every project completed, every goal achieved, every skill mastered becomes proof that belief was not misplaced. The soil of progress grows in action despite uncertainty, in trying while afraid, and in believing before evidence. So here's your call to action. The next time doubt whispers, don't listen. Move anyway. Take the step. Do the work. Collect your evidence. Build your confidence. Layer by layer, action by action, habit by habit. Your armor of belief becomes unshakable. And doubt? It becomes nothing more than a faint memory, a ghost that no longer haunts your progress. Remember this, my friends. Doubt is inevitable. Resistance is certain. But the person who moves in spite of it, that is the person who writes their destiny. The person who waits for perfect clarity, that is the person who drifts. And the choice is always yours. The fourth enemy, distraction. Now we arrive at the fourth enemy of progress, distraction. Unlike excuses, which seduce the mind, or neglect, which quietly erodes effort, or doubt, which saps belief, distraction steals your greatness through fragmentation. It doesn't destroy through failure, no. It destroys through division, through diffusion, through scattering your energy in so many directions that nothing of depth can grow. Think about the world we live in today. Every sound, every screen, every ping, every notification, all vying for your attention. Every interruption has a cost. Every tug on your mind chips away at focus. And yet most people aren't losing because they lack ability. They're losing because they cannot stay with one thing long enough to see it bear fruit. Distraction is subtle. It disguises itself as productivity. Just one more email, it whispers. Just one more scroll. Just a quick check. Minutes turn into hours, hours turn into days, and days turn into stolen years. The problem is not always laziness. The problem is dispersion. A mind pulled in 10 directions cannot master one. I remember meeting a talented young writer. Brilliant ideas, incredible skill, endless creativity. Yet she never finished her projects. She jumped from task to task, chasing trends, checking notifications, responding to every demand. Her potential was vast, but distraction had stolen her focus. Years later, she would tell me, "I had everything, except attention." And that, my friends, is the silent killer of progress. Progress demands concentration. It requires single-minded pursuit. You cannot build a strong future with a divided mind. And the cure? Clarity, focus, purpose. Protect your attention like treasure, because it is. Every yes must have a reason. Every minute must have a purpose. And anything that does not serve your mission must be eliminated. Distraction cannot be conquered by removing every noise from the world. That's impossible. You conquer distraction by training the mind to stay on course. You create boundaries, habits, and systems that guide your focus. Focus is a muscle. It strengthens with repetition and weakens with neglect. Every time you resist the urge to check the phone, every time you finish the task you started, every time you choose depth over speed, you build that muscle. You fortify your mind. The greatest performers in any field share one trait: single-minded pursuit. While others chase variety, they chase mastery. While others flit from trend to trend, they concentrate on what matters most. While others are busy, they are breaking ground. Depth and focus always outperform busyness and distraction. So ask yourself, what distractions are costing you right now? Half-read books, unfinished plans, abandoned projects, unread emails. Each one is a reminder that the battle for focus is never over. The world is designed to pull your attention away from what matters most, and only you can guard it. Your environment matters. Your habits matter. Your associations matter. Surround yourself with people who elevate you, not with those who fragment your attention. Design your day to protect what matters most. Say no to trivialities. Say no to busy work disguised as productivity. Say no to the noise that dilutes your power. And here's the Jim Rohn truth. Wherever attention flows, results follow. If you want to measure a person's potential, look at what captures their focus. Focus is not magic. Focus is discipline. It grows with intentional action. It dies with neglect. And your life, your work, your relationships, your health, all thrive or suffer based on where you direct it. Distraction is cheap. Focus is expensive, but only one of them pays dividends. Distraction costs you time, momentum, and confidence. Focus gives you mastery, achievement, and growth. And the choice, as always, is yours. So today, train your mind. Guard your attention. Build the muscle of focus. Say no more often. Let silence become your strategy. Let depth replace speed. Do what matters most, not what is loudest, flashiest, or most urgent. Because depth builds, focus finishes, and progress is born in the soil of concentrated effort. Remember, the enemy is patient, clever, and subtle. It will constantly try to lure you away from what matters. And the battle for attention is a battle you must fight every single day. The moment you forget to guard your focus, even for a moment, you give the enemy an opening. Stay vigilant, stay disciplined, and let nothing distract you from the path to greatness. The fifth enemy, comfort. Finally, we arrive at the fifth enemy of progress. Comfort, the most seductive, the most deceptive, the most dangerous of all. Unlike excuses, neglect, doubt, or distraction, comfort doesn't feel like a threat. It feels safe, it feels deserved, it feels good. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. Comfort whispers in your ear, "You've done enough. You deserve a break. Slow down. Take it easy." And at first, it seems harmless, maybe even wise. After all, you've worked hard. You've achieved something. You've earned a moment to rest. And yes, rest is important. Recovery is essential. Renewal is necessary. But comfort has a way of overstaying its welcome. You see, comfort and progress cannot coexist for long. One always pushes the other out. When you choose comfort, you trade growth for ease. You trade ambition for preservation. And little by little, without realizing it, the fire that once burned brightly inside you begins to dim. Consider the person who was once driven, once hungry, once unstoppable. They climbed the hill, reached a plateau, and thought, "I'm fine where I am." The climb feels steep. The goal feels distant. and comfort offers a shortcut. Stay here, it says. It's safe. It's familiar. It's easy. Safe from failure. Safe from criticism. Safe from discomfort. But also safe from growth. Progress lives in tension, in friction, in challenge. Muscles grow only through resistance. Skills sharpen only through practice. Character strengthens only through adversity. Comfort feels good now, but at the cost of what could have been. Growth costs now, but pays forever. And the people who achieve the most rarely choose comfort. They lean into the productive discomfort, the tension that stretches them beyond what they thought possible. Comfort's greatest weapon is subtlety. It doesn't demand surrender. It suggests rest. It whispers, "You've done enough for today." And yes, perhaps you have. But the key is understanding that rest serves the mission, not replaces it. Recovery is preparation for action, not an excuse for inaction. The moment satisfaction becomes stillness, growth begins to die. Look around you. Where has comfort been robbing you? Perhaps it's a morning routine that slipped. Perhaps it's ambition that dulled. Perhaps it's the challenge you postponed because things felt good enough. Every comfort zone carries a hidden price tag, and that price is potential left unfulfilled. So how do we defeat this enemy? By choice, by discipline, by intention, by learning to see comfort for what it truly is. Temporary pleasure with permanent cost if left unchecked. Choose growth over ease, purpose over peace of mind. 1 inch past easy. That's where life expands. That's where progress waits. That's where the fire burns brightest. The only way to truly master comfort is to rise anyway. Rest if you must, but rise again. Lean forward, stretch, pursue, push, keep moving. Keep growing, keep building, because the moment you settle, the flame begins to die. The edge of comfort is the entrance to progress, and progress waits for no one. Remember this, my friends, comfort is temporary. Progress is lasting. Comfort is the seduction of today. Progress is the reward of tomorrow. One will always try to lure you into stagnation. The other demands tension, effort, and courage. And the choice, as always, is yours. So today, when comfort whispers to slow down, thank it for the rest, but rise again. Keep leaning forward, keep pursuing, keep building, because the life you deserve is never found in ease. It's found in the productive struggle, in the disciplined effort, and in the courage to move past comfort toward greatness. The defense, awareness, discipline, and structure. Now that we've met the 5 enemies, excuses, neglect, doubt, distraction, and comfort, it's time to talk about defense. Because knowing the enemies is only half the battle. The other half is building a system strong enough to repel them. And that system begins with 3 pillars: awareness, discipline, and structure. The first pillar is awareness. You cannot fix what you do not see. You cannot protect what you do not know is under threat. Awareness is the first line of defense. It is the flashlight in the dark, revealing where the enemies hide. Excuses lurk in your reasoning. Neglect hides in overlooked details. Doubt lives in hesitation. Distraction thrives in fragmented focus. Comfort conceals itself as deserved rest. Awareness exposes them. Once you name the enemy, its power diminishes. Seeing is the first step to winning. But awareness alone is not enough. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is doing what should be done, whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is the daily vote for progress over drift. It is the action that converts knowledge into results. Motivation comes and goes. Inspiration fades. Discipline remains. Discipline shows up when energy is low. Discipline persists when the mind resists. And over time, discipline creates momentum, builds belief, and silences doubt. Think about a gardener. Awareness tells the gardener which plants need water, which weeds need pulling, which soil needs tending. Discipline ensures the watering happens, the weeds are removed, and the soil is cultivated daily. Without awareness, the gardener doesn't know where to act. Without discipline, knowing isn't enough. The garden suffers, progress suffers, and the enemies move in. The third pillar is structure. Discipline without structure can falter. Systems make success automatic. They create habits that reinforce progress even when willpower fades. Structure sets routines, defines priorities, and organizes energy. Structure designs your environment so the enemies have fewer opportunities to operate. Remove distractions. Protect your focus. Build routines that make consistent action inevitable. Build systems that reward discipline and make neglect difficult. That is how progress becomes protected, not accidental, Structure also gives clarity. Each morning, review your goals. Each evening, evaluate your actions. Each week, refine your system. The battle for progress is continuous. Drift begins the moment you forget what matters. So guard your inputs. Guard your environment. Guard your time. Build a framework that directs energy, attention, and action toward what truly counts. Because the world will constantly try to pull you away. Structure keeps you anchored. Now combine awareness, discipline, and structure, and something powerful happens. You no longer rely on fleeting motivation. You no longer surrender to comfort. You no longer allow excuses, neglect, doubt, or distraction to dictate your future. Your system becomes a fortress. Your daily actions become automatic. Your progress becomes inevitable. What was once effort becomes instinct. What was once struggle becomes standard. I have met people who transformed their lives not by luck, not by opportunity, but by design. They understood the enemies. They built the defense. And over time, they became unstoppable. Their results were not mysterious. Their achievements were the natural outcome of an intentional system. Awareness, discipline, and structure. That's the blueprint. That's the armor. That's the defense that keeps progress protected and growing. Remember, the enemies are patient. They wait for cracks. They exploit weakness. They strike where vigilance is low. But when you wake up aware, work with discipline, and live with structure, you fortify your mind, your habits, and your life. You make progress inevitable. And that, my friends, is the power of the internal war fought and won. So today, ask yourself, am I aware of where my enemies hide? Am I disciplined enough to act even when it's hard? Am I structured enough to make success automatic? If the answer is yes, then you are no longer at the mercy of drift. You are no longer a spectator in your own life. You are the commander of your destiny. And when all three pillars stand strong, excuses fall silent. Neglect becomes unnatural. Doubt loses its grip. Distraction fades into the background, and comfort becomes a reward, not a refuge. That is how the internal war transforms into victory. That is how progress becomes inevitable. That is how you win the battle inside, every single day. Now we come to the final moment. The moment to take all you've learned, all the truths you've faced, and turn them into action. You've seen the enemies: excuses, neglect, doubt, distraction, comfort. You've learned the defenses: awareness, discipline, structure. And now it's time to decide. Who will win the war inside? Progress is not accidental. It is not random. It is not a gift bestowed by luck or circumstance. Progress is earned. It is defended. It is designed. And the battle begins and ends within you. The external world can challenge you. The market can test you. Life can throw obstacles. But nothing outside can fix what's inside. Until you change the mind, the habits, the system, nothing else changes. That is the law of success. So here is your call to action. Begin today. No more waiting. No more tomorrow. The moment for excuses has passed. The moment for drift is over. The moment for action is now. Stand up and say to yourself, I will guard my progress. I will protect my focus. I will act in spite of doubt. I will rise beyond comfort. I will win the war inside. And then, begin. Begin with small, deliberate, disciplined steps. Begin with awareness. Begin with structure. Begin with the courage to act. Every day is a vote. Every decision, every choice, every action is a vote for the person you will become. Will you vote for excuses or for execution? Will you vote for neglect or for discipline? Will you vote for doubt or for belief? Will you vote for distraction or for focus? Will you vote for comfort or for growth? Each vote matters. Each vote builds or erodes your future. And over time, the sum of your votes becomes your life. The people who succeed, they do not avoid hardship. They do not have more luck. They do not wait for conditions to be perfect. They act in spite of fear, in spite of uncertainty, in spite of everything that tries to stop them. They refuse to let excuses, neglect, doubt, distraction, and comfort decide their fate. They rise, they persist, they focus, they grow, and the result is inevitable. And now, it is your turn. The internal war is yours to win. Stand guard over your mind. Build your defenses. Take ownership of your actions. Protect your focus. Feed your belief. Strengthen your discipline. Design your environment. Structure your days, review, adjust, correct, and do not stop. Because progress is not an event. It is a defense strategy. It is a system. It is a way of life. And the moment you embrace it, The enemies lose. Your results grow. Your potential is realized. Your life transforms. So today, I challenge you. Identify your enemy. Build your defense. Take your first disciplined action right now. Even a small step, even a single choice. Let it be the vote for progress. Because momentum builds fast, faith grows faster, and the fire of persistence, once lit, cannot be extinguished. Remember this truth. The war inside is real, but winnable. The enemies are patient, but defeatable. And the victory, oh, the victory is lasting. It is sustained. It is yours if only you decide to fight. And fight not occasionally, not when convenient, but daily. Fight with awareness. Fight with discipline. Fight with structure. Fight until excuses are silenced. Neglect becomes unnatural. Doubt has no voice. Distraction fades into the background. Comfort serves the mission, not replaces it. And at last, progress becomes inevitable. So rise today. Stand firm. Begin the work that others delay. Protect your focus. Strengthen your habits. Choose growth. Act in spite of fear. Execute in spite of uncertainty. And never forget. The real battle was always inside you. Win it, and everything else will follow. Now go, begin, build, protect, and let your progress be unstoppable.